Hi, I'm Hans. Welcome to Poop, Predators and Seeking Perfection. 20 years of designing the ultimate backyard chicken coops. And this is where it all began. The Igloo Classic. A chicken coop that I think it's fair to say revolutionized what people thought a chicken coop should be and how people could keep chickens in back gardens. 20 years later from designing the Igloo Classic, I'm so excited to show you today our latest and probably greatest chicken coop, the Igloo Pro. Come with me. Except I can't, because we're on its secret test garden. And the products behind me here, well, if I showed you them, I would get in serious trouble. So instead, we're going to nip upstairs where we've got another Igloo Pro set up, and I'm going to get my friend Jess from Meyer Hatchery to join us on the call, and we're going to have a good old chat about chicken coops, poop, predators, and everything in between.
Oh my goodness. Is that the new Omelette Igloo Pro? That is an amazing looking coop. Look how big it is.
Oh my God, Jess, you're ready. Hi.
Hey, how are ya?
Hey, sorry I was a bit late. I was just out in the secret test garden. But yeah,
Exciting. That is amazing looking. I love it so much.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's been two years of development, 20,000 hours, a lot of experience and a lot of love has gone into this product, and I couldn't be more proud of it. And I can't wait to show you all the details and all the great things in it. But actually, before we do that, it would be amazing maybe if you could introduce yourself, what you do at Meyer, a little bit about Meyer Hatchery.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I've been a member of the Meyer Hatchery team for almost 7 years now. I can't believe it. It's so awesome. And I'm our marketing lead here at Meyer Hatchery. And Meyer Hatchery has been around since 1985, so it's going to be 40 years soon. It was started by Karen Meyer, and we're based in Ohio. We have all kinds of poultry to help you with your poultry adventures, over 160 breeds of chickens and turkeys and ducks, geese, game birds, anything to get you started on your adventure. As somebody who's been in the chicken business for a really long time, I have been following Omelette for quite some time, and I was wondering, why did you get started? Why chicken coops?
That is a great question. Yeah, we're actually celebrating 20 years of Omelette this year. So we're kind of halfway to where you are now. Yeah, I can't believe it. You know, it was 2003. Myself, James, Will, and Simon were studying at the Royal College of Art in London. We were studying industrial design. You know, four guys in their 20s. We just decided to redesign a chicken coop. I mean, it was an obvious thing to do, of course. The idea back then, which is actually the same now, was we wanted to change the way people thought about chickens through the power of product design. We did it with the original Igloo. We redesigned what a chicken coop could be and turned it into something that worked. If you live in urban areas or suburban areas, you have a small yard space and you only want to keep 2-3 chickens, we designed a product for you. But obviously, as you know, like when you keep 2-3 chickens, you want to get more. And so pretty quickly, we designed another coop, which was bigger, the Igloo Cube. And that one was for like 6 to 8 birds. And that became our bestseller. And then obviously, as chicken mass kicks in again, you got 6 to 8 birds, you want 10 or 12. And so here we are with Igloo Pro, which is our new 10 bird chicken house. So this is great for 10 large chickens, up to 15 bantams. So you can really like live out your chicken math fantasy with this product.
I love that. Room to grow. Start with a few and then you can add a little bit more in there. I absolutely love that. And I really love your mission of turning farm animals into pets. I know personally for me, my birds are very much a part of our farm. We have a very small farm, but they're very much a part of the farm. But they're also our pets too. It is so fun to go out there and sit with them and listen to them kind of talk to us while we're out there. It really is a wonderful experience. Does I know you mentioned a little bit about that mission, but does it still stand or have you evolved a little bit over the years?
It still stands because, until everybody is keeping chickens, we're still on that mission. So it's a big dream. When we started out in the UK back in 2003 and we launched the original Igloo in 2004, chickens were a very unusual pet. Like nobody really kept them. And certainly if you lived in London, you would never really think you could keep chickens. And I remember when we launched the original Igloo, people would come up to me and say, well, what is that? And I would say, well, it's a chicken coop. And people were just like, really? And in that instant, I knew that we succeeded because people looked at that product and all of their preconceived ideas of like how and who was allowed to keep chickens just melted. And instead, they came at it with open eyes and with an open mind. And they said, well, could I keep chickens? Is this something I could do? And you're like, absolutely, you could do it, you know? And people just got it straight away. And, you know, after we launched, we had a 14-week waiting list. We couldn't keep up, and it just snowballed from there. So the mission is still the same because, you know, not everybody is keeping chickens. In the UK, chickens are now like a top 5 pet. You know, they are very popular. But in the US, which is, you know, our real focus now is to bring the Igloo and the idea of keeping chickens as a pet to everybody, you know, to make it a real mainstream hobby. You know, that we feel like we were only just really getting started.
I love that. Absolutely love that. That's one thing when I talk with our Meyer Hatchery customers is that you don't have to have a giant farm with a big pond and a really huge chicken coop. You can use something like the omelet, have just a few chickens, and really experience the whole amazing adventure of raising poultry. I absolutely love that. When I first started doing my research for a chicken coop, well, let me go back. Our first chicken coop didn't make it through the first year. It
Yeah.
was made out of wood, it fell apart, it was so hard to clean, and it was just not good. So I live somewhere where we have kind of a longer winter, so we were able to put our chickens into our barn for the winter, and we were like, we got to redo this. So the way I found Omelet and the Igloo and everything was just literally searching easy to clean chicken coop, and it
Yeah.
was going to last a while. And we've had our omelets here, goodness, over 5 years, and we need one more, and then we will be 100% all omelet here on our farm, which is really fun. And I see that part of your mission is making sure that the omelet was very easy to clean. Was plastic always the solution? And how did you get to that conclusion when designing?
No, that's a great question because it certainly wasn't normal when we started out. You know, nobody really made plastic chicken coops, but through the design process, we realized that it was absolutely the right material for the job. You know, plastic has so many advantages over wood in terms of being easy to clean and hygienic. You know, there's no place for red mite to hide, which is obviously a big problem in the summer. You know, on top of that, the way the Igloo is made, you mentioned weather and, you know, different climates. So we use a very special technique, a twin wall construction. It's a bit like, you know, if you bought a cooler, like a Yeti cooler, this would be the same way it's made. And the Igloos have got this twin wall construction, which means that they stay nice and cool in the summer, but they stay lovely and cozy and warm in the winter. I can show you a little bit around the Pro if you like. We can go in and have a look
Yeah,
at some of these details
absolutely.
bit up close. Let's take a little walk. So I'm up in
Good.
Omelet's photo studio. So Omelet, you know, we try and do everything in house so that we can stay as close as possible to the product, but also, you know, our customers, and we really learn from all of this experience.
Right.
If we have a look around the back here. So you have, I think, an Igloo cube, don't you?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So you'll notice straight away on the back here that we have 3 slide out trays here. Now on the Igloo cube, this one on the left-hand side is where the nesting box is, and
Mhm.
you can't clean that with a slide out tray on the cube. But on the Pro, we've added a tray. We have the ventilation here, which is fully adjustable. Oh, and this is a really neat feature. So on here, this is like a real design, like bit of real expertise here. So we really
Yeah.
wanted to make predator coops, the predator proof coops. So stop
Mhm.
raccoon in. So you have a special double press here. So you have to press this button on the heel,
Oh,
then you twist this, and then you can open it, and it
oh,
completely
that's great.
stops those pesky little paws from getting in.
Oh, nice.
And then if we have a little look inside, in here, you can see the roosting bar area. And we get a lot of questions about this. So you'll notice there's no actual perch in here. And this is the Omelet way of doing things. we learned 20 years ago that perches are great, but they also can introduce problems in your flock where people have like chickens have a favorite place on the perch, and
Yep.
they'll shove the chickens out of the way. Well, this is a much more egalitarian system where the chickens, there's no sort of hierarchy to it. You can sort of perch
Yeah.
wherever they want, but they get the same sensation of gripping. Yeah, so they can
Yeah.
grip. Yeah. But for cleaning, everything comes out for cleaning. And it's like a 5-minute job really with a pressure washer.
The cleaning is just so important, and I love being able to just take that tray out, clean it off, put it back in there. And with the Pro, those 3 trays, that is amazing. I really
Yeah.
like that addition. And the raccoons, we live somewhere where there is lots of raccoons, so to be able to keep them out is so very
You know what,
important.
we get sent videos quite often actually from people's outdoor security cameras or their doorbells, and they pick up predators in the evening. We've had
Yeah.
mountain lions, we've had bears, we've had coyotes, all sorts of these undesirables trying to get into the coops, and they just
Yeah.
can't, because we in the design process we don't kind of ignore these things, we consider it all, and we design for that eventuality. And I think, in terms of predator protection, you cannot get better than an igloo chicken coop.
I know from personal experience at the omelet, the wonderful fencing that you have on the run part there, that saved us from a coyote attack. We actually had footage of the coyote just kind of pulling on the outside of the omelet. Didn't phase the omelet at all, and my flock was nice and safe. And I know that when our customers call into Meyer Hatchery, predator protection is always such a huge concern, and something that you really need to think about even before you place that first order for your chicks. How am I going to make sure that my flock is nice and safe? And what sort of research did you do when developing the predator solutions?
Well, I mean, what sort of research didn't we do is probably a shorter answer, because that's something that is so important to try to understand. So we have an amazing design strategist, Rebecca, who visited, wow, I think probably around 40 or 50 customers in the US. So she was in Northeast, Northwest, Southeast, Southwest, Texas, all over, and visited a lot of chicken keepers to learn from their experiences. So, really firsthand, really just speaking to customers and understanding from them the kind of things that are important to them, the kind of improvements that they want to see. And, that's really, really core to designing a great product, because of course we have chickens here. Some of my favorite colleagues are on it, and not the people. I got to be honest, Jess, it's the chickens. They're so nice. We go out and hang out
Yeah.
there. But no,
Absolutely.
obviously everybody who works at Omelette is great.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the chickens in particular, very, very important members of the team. So of course
Absolutely.
we have our chicken colleagues who work with us every day and help us design the products, and all of the product design team. And it's a 20-strong product design team are out there every day with the chickens, watching, learning, observing. And
Yeah.
it's a really, because chickens can't speak,
Yeah.
you have to watch, you have to learn, you have to take your time. You cannot rush these things. And
Right.
so we don't, we just take our time with it, and we end up coming up with products that we really believe in, are really proud of, and just know will work. And, that's a real difference, I think.
Yeah, you can definitely tell all the hard work that's went into building the omelet coops. Absolutely. A common question, we're talking about predator proofing, and a
Mm.
common question we get from our Meyer Hatchery customers is about the fencing and about the size of the fencing. And we spend a lot of time explaining that you have to be very careful about the type of fencing you use, because you don't want predators getting their hands through there. And you don't want to use something like chicken wire, because they could pull that down. So can you show a little bit of the omelets fencing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're going to now try and do my best raccoon impression.
Okay.
So bear with me. But yeah, I'm so glad you asked that, because if you have a look here, this wire mesh has got a very fine, we call it a very fine pitch in the industry. It's a very fine mesh size here. And if you're a raccoon, you cannot get your little paws through that. You just can't.
Yeah,
You know, it's
that's
designed
great.
specifically to stop a raccoon's paws getting through, and it works incredibly well. On top of that, we've got an anti-tunnel skirt which runs around the whole bottom of the igloo coops. So around here, you don't need to bury that under the ground. It works because a predator will always come up to an edge and then start to dig. So they just want to get in as fast as possible. It doesn't make any sense for them to walk back here and start to dig. They'll just dig right up against this edge. But of course, they can't get through because there's this solid steel weld mesh in the way. So the
Great.
combination of the raccoon-proof mesh here, the anti-tunnel skirt here, and really will stop pretty much everything from getting in.
It's great.
Oh, there's one other thing that I just want to show you,
Yeah.
actually, because on the Igloo Pro, you have a cube. Now, to remove on the cube, you have to take the house apart. We've improved this on the Igloo Pro. I was going to ask my friend Liam, who's our cameraman at Omelette, to come in and give me a hand, because we can just
Great.
simply unscrew this and then we can take the run away.
Yeah.
So around the top here, there's screws which we've taken apart just now. Now with Liam's help, I'm just going to move this run out of the way.
So convenient.
So I love this view of the Pro because I think the design team has done such a nice job at the front of the product. And they pack loads of really cool features in here. So you can see here the big ventilation panel. Again, it's adjustable. And then next to it, you've got this panel here. I don't know if you can guess what that is, Jess.
I'm not sure. I was looking at it and trying to figure out what it was.
I know it's pretty hard to guess from the outside. This is what we
Yeah.
call it the Lux panel. And it's a kind of a window, but it doesn't really look like a window. It lets light through, but keeps the privacy for the chickens inside. So
Oh, I
it's
love that.
it's a really lovely design solution to giving the chickens a bit more daylight, especially, you know, during winter when the weather's not so great. You know, chickens will huddle in the coop. Why not? You know, it's nice and cozy in there, but this just gives them a bit of extra daylight. So a really nice update on the igloo there. And then you have the ladder, which comes down from the front. Now, this is not just any ladder. This is an Omelette ladder. I'm just going to take it off.
Yeah, it does look a little different than the one that's on my cube.
Yeah. So this is one of these things where we really listen to customers, and it's surprisingly hard to design a chicken ladder that will work for any chicken. You really have to observe and look at how a chicken's feet works, how their eyesight works. You know, it took probably in the region of 120 to 130 prototypes to get a ladder that worked with every single type of chicken. But I think we've done it. You know, when you look at it in profile here, you can see that these steps they've got a double profile. So a shorter bit and a more raised bit. You've got this extra grip surface on there. I think we've done a great job on that.
Yeah, that looks great. And when you're taking care of chickens, you know, protecting their feet is so important. And that looks fantastic, having all the gripping kind of action on there and so forth. I think that looks great. You've been talking a lot about the design of the coop, and how does this impact the connection between chicken keeper and chickens?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting question because, you know, you might think, what difference does it make? It's just the chicken coop. Really, it's all about the chicken. But when you think about the act of keeping chickens, the amount of sort of work and, you know, the association of like, it's like a chore, you know, becomes quite a big factor for people because everybody's busy. You know, we've all got lots of other things going on in our lives. So what we've tried to do with the Igloo right from the beginning, you know, the original Igloo Classic all the way through to this one, is constantly find ways to remove the chore and get back to the joy of keeping chickens, make time for those connections. And that means for all the family, you know, that means not just for the primary caregiver, but also for, you know, the kids, for, you know, your grandparents, for anybody who comes around. It's like a little example of that is even just the thoughtfulness around the egg port. So on the Igloo Pro, you have same raccoon-proof locks here, and you have some straps which hold the egg port. So if you have a little egg collecting basket, you can rest it on the door that opens here. But, you know, if you're a 5-year-old child or a 4-year-old child, well, it's quite a long way to reach across. So these straps are removable. And now you can see I can get right up next to it.
So much thoughtfulness and in everything that you've shown today and in all the other lit coops. But that is absolutely fantastic. I love the strap because I always need a place to put my basket. And one of my favorite parts of chicken keeping is egg collecting. That is just so exciting to go out with my basket and see who's laid and all the different colors because chicken math happened here. So
Yeah.
I've got lots of different colorful layers. What is your favorite part about chicken keeping?
Wow. I can only choose one, or are you going to give me two?
You could have two.
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that my kids love chickens. Easter every day, they just love to go out and look for eggs, and every time they find an egg, the look on their faces, it's like it's worth $1 million. So
Yeah.
I love that about them. I love that they are learning to care for an animal, and I love that they understand that we get eggs from those chickens, and there's a direct correlation between the care that we give the chickens in terms of how we look after them and the food they eat and what they produce back and give back to us. They have a really deep and caring understanding of where food comes from that point of view, and that's so important.
That's really great. Did any of these favorite moments help you with designing the coop?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my least favorite thing is cleaning out chicken coops. So, so, I'm a real, like, if it's not easy to clean, I don't want to know. Yeah, we really, really challenge the design engineers to just get it as easy as possible. I want to spend 5 minutes tops. That's what I always say to them. It's like, you got 5 minutes. If it's not clean by then it's not good enough. So, that's a challenge on a coop this big because, it really is big. And you got 10 chickens in there. I mean, chicken poop sticks like nothing else, really. But no, let me ask you, what's your favorite thing about keeping chickens?
Oh, besides the eggs, it's that sense of accomplishment.
Mm.
And that little bit of self-sufficiency that we can have. Our chickens are very much incorporated into our gardens, so it's just this big, wonderful cycle of awesomeness here at our farm. But that's why I love them. I grew up in the city and I always wanted chickens. And I moved to the city about 15 years ago when I met my husband. And it's been an amazing adventure ever since. In your 20 years of work, over 20 years of working in the industry, how have chicken keepers like myself kind of inspired you to accelerate your coop design?
Well, you're very demanding.
I don't want to be cleaning out there for 2 hours.
No, I mean, it's such a huge responsibility. Honestly, Jess, it's such a big
Yeah.
responsibility to design a product and then put it out there to the world where it will get tested and used and, scenarios that you couldn't have thought of. And, you've got a living creature in there. You've got a pet with a name, like we've just been talking about, that people care deeply about. Yeah, it's a huge responsibility and one that we, absolutely take on. And we have a motto, which is like, we ask and we invent. And we take that responsibility really seriously. We really ask a lot of questions and we want the products to perform in every eventuality for everybody who uses them and to never let people down and never let chickens down. And, I think we do a tremendous job of it, but we never stop seeking perfection. So I'm sure with the Pro, over time there will be elements which we think, wow, we need to, we've got a new idea for that, we want to design for that. And designing products is such a privilege. It's so fun. It's such a great activity to do. Like we were talking about, it connects you with so many people in the community. And like, you and I, we're getting the opportunity now to talk about chickens, and that's just a wonderful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're talking a lot about the past 20 years. Where do you think things are going in the next 20 years as far as chicken keeping and the future of backyard chicken keeping?
Yeah, I think, wow, you're putting me really on the spot here. I don't know if you're going to hold me to this, but so if we're fast forwarding, did you say 20 years or 50 years?
Let's do 20 years.
Well, I would love it, if kids in school are talking about their chickens, you know, talking about like, hey, we just got some chickens. And people didn't kind of go like, really? But instead they're like, wow, we got chickens too. Oh, that's so great. You know, what color eggs do they lay? What breeds did you get? You know, I would love that. I would love it if keeping chickens just, you know, it's kind of cool when people are like, oh my God, you keep chickens. Wow, that's like so exotic. I mean, it's kind of cool, but at the
Yeah.
same time, like you want people to just say, yeah, of course you keep chickens. So do I. You know, like what's the big deal? So
Right.
for me, you know, it would be going back probably in time to a time when people just kept chickens.
Absolutely. I definitely see the, at least just from my experience and being a team member at Meyer Hatchery and hearing all the feedback from customers and so forth, I too have that dream of that everybody has backyard chickens, and that it becomes, I live somewhere where you can't have chickens in some places,
Yeah.
and my hope is that, within, hopefully shorter than 20 years, but within the next couple years, that it is widely accepted, and that, like you said, everybody's like, hey, I got chickens in the backyard, and just like you grow tomatoes, you've got to.
Yeah, exactly. So I would just
Yeah,
encourage everybody, spread the word. Tell everybody how
abs-
great chicken keeping is. And yeah, let's, you know, let's do it. Let's grow
yep,
this community.
absolutely. Love it so much.
So Jess, thanks so much for joining. I think that's all we've got time for. It's been an absolute pleasure.